All right, well, welcome back to another episode of Between Sundays at the Lake. The last episode, you got to hear our wives. I haven't listened to the episode, so I have no idea what they said.
Me neither.
Correct.
I'm a little scared, to be honest with you.
It might be better that we're recording this before we know what they said.
I think so too.
That's more authentic.
Authentic.
Oh yeah,
real.
for sure. Well, and I think they thought it was going to be kind of like the old newlywed game where you see if you have the same answers. But I mean, when you're looking at it, I tried to explain it, but Crystal wasn't understanding what I was trying to say. Is it doesn't matter what you do when you're coming from two separate perspectives. The answers are certainly not going to be the same. Yeah. I mean, you know, those newlywed games, some of those are funny. You can go back and watch some of those bloopers. They're kind of comical.
Yeah.
But,
sometimes concerning.
Sometimes very concerning, and sometimes I think there was divorces afterwards in the newlywed game. So
just wild.
We just got married a week ago. We're on the newlywed game. Yeah, now we're getting divorced.
We're done. Yeah.
And it's over. But no, we're going to try to tackle those same subjects that they did. And then we'll go from there. So you got the wives' perspective, the ladies' perspective of these questions, and so now you're going to get the probably less important men's perspective of it. But I don't know if it's less important or not. But unfortunately, I think in our culture today, people definitely think it's less important.
It's definitely viewed as less important,
yeah.
for sure.
You know, you watch some of these clips of some of these people, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely important.
Yeah. Oh, it's
without being boastful.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it's important. I mean, we talked about that when we did the few episodes about you know, what it means to be a godly man and how important that was, and just throwing a few of those statistics out there was kind of eye opening as far as what that looks like. So. We're gonna we won't go on any tangents in the beginning here, I don't think, unless y'all got anything you wanna. We ain't got no mayonnaise or mustard or guardrails or bologna today. So this is the no bologna podcast.
This is the no bologna. Yeah,
knocking the dust off the equipment because it feels like it's been forever.
It does feel like it's been forever.
It hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been forever. Yeah, we didn't record last week because Pastor Zeb was in the woods all week, so we so and it worked out.
Do you have anything to show for that?
Yes, I got something to show for it.
Sure.
Come on, man.
Sure it's
what you think this is, bro? What you think this is?
I don't know.
If nothing else, the show for it is my sanity because I got no cell phone service up there. Nobody can call me and complain about.
That's true. If anything, If anything's a little vacation.
So we're learning quite a bit right here, knowing that he's going hunting, but the sole premise of hunting has nothing to do with retrieving game.
Exactly.
It's being alone.
Right. It's seclusion.
Here's what I learned. Here's what I learned a long time ago. When you go hunting, if your sole purpose for going hunting is to harvest an animal, you are going to hate the sport of hunting.
Yeah, you get disappointed quite a bit.
Oh man, but you know, I saw a lot of deer too, and just let them walk. But just being out there and just watching, like when you're sitting in a stand and the sun starts coming up, and then all of a sudden you start hearing squirrels start running, and it's cool. And it's not as cool when it's 32 degrees outside and you're
it's literally cool. Yeah,
it is. But it's fun to watch the woods wake up.
Yeah, and there's almost something like primitive about being up before the animals.
Yeah.
Like how often are you up before the animals?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, the crazy thing is when you're sitting in there in the dark and you start
hearing
in
their tree,
and you're going,
in their tree.
You look up and there's your squirrel nose to nose with you.
Oh, hey.
I've had a raccoon run down and sit right on the shooting rest, just look at me like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yes.
But yeah, no, it is fun, and it's a good time. Like I said, the best part about it is just being out there. And I watched these two little one. I don't remember what day it was, Friday, I guess something. Watched these one little buttonhead buck and a little yearling doe. They walked around for an hour. Like got so close at one point. One of them flicked their ear, and they were so close to the blind that they actually hit the blind.
Oh, wow.
His ear hit the blind. I could have reached out, grabbed him, and just jugged him if I wanted to. But
Got a lot to learn, those
But
deer.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm like, please become big and stay that stupid, please.
Right. Learn nothing in these
Learn
next few years.
absolutely
But
nothing.
get big.
But get big.
Gigantic because you'll be easy. But all right, well I digress because I'll sit here and talk about being in the woods and on the water all day long. But let's go ahead and jump into this. So the first question that something to this effect that the ladies answered was, what would I want my kids to say about me? For us, it would be as a husband, obviously. So I'll let you guys we'll just kind of round table it here. But what would you, and just for those of you that don't know, Jordan can answer this question. We've been holding on to that and just trying to, I've almost said it about 3 times on accident.
I mean, same.
But he announced it to the church. So now we can actually say it on here that him and Jen are expecting. So please be praying for them,
Please.
and praying for the baby and everything that goes along with that. So, but what would the question is, what would I want my kids to say about me as a husband? And I guess the probably the better question of that is, what example do I want to set for my children as a husband? I guess would be the crux of it. I guess.
No.
Because I know, for me, I want my kids to see. I mean, I know this sounds like a cop-out answer, but it's the absolute truth. Is I want my kids to see what a godly husband looks like.
Yeah.
And I'm not always going to be that. Obviously, none of us are. We're not always going to be that. But that's the main thing. Is I want them to see. I want them to see what a godly marriage looks like. And I think my sermon got taken off YouTube one time because I made the statement that, we as men need to show our children what a godly marriage is, and the godly marriage begins with one man and one woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, for that to be ripped off of YouTube, it's not even like you put in the context of marriage, a godly marriage, right? So, but
it was the one man, one woman statement. I think that got me taken down.
Yeah. But, in the subcategory of a godly marriage, not just like, a secular marriage or whatever you want to call it. I think what I would want, or what my kids would say about me as a husband, would be devoted. Yeah. And I think that's in all aspects. So that would be devoted to my Lord and Savior, devoted to my wife, devoted to them. God given me a heart of perseverance. I think that's come with kind of a negative side note of being hard-headed, but
there's a fine line,
right? That's silver lining in all things.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I think because So that would be mine, is devoted in all aspects of what I'm committed to. Like I said, my wife, my kids, my Lord and Savior, all those things. So I think that would be my answer.
Yeah, I think for me, because I mean, it's hard to answer it and have a different answer, because your answer is what I would say too. Your answer is what I would say too.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any one thing you can nail.
Right, exactly. There's a couple of things I would want to.
Zeb was trying to retract himself from that option because he went first.
Oh no, I got a one-word answer, but I was taking out the easy answer from all of us.
Sure. So I think for me, I don't know how else to phrase it, but like just being real. Authentic. Yeah. That's a good word for that. Because I live my life like that. How I am in church is how I am in Publix or Walmart or whatever, right? Yep. Who I am with my personal deepest friends is who I'm with a stranger.
Sure.
Right. I don't act any different.
Yep.
So with that, I want my kids to see, hey, be who you are, and be who you are in Christ. Right. If I mess up, I own up to it. I don't want them to think that, Dad is just trying to be perfect all the time, or trying to put on a face or a facade or whatever. I want to be able to be that guy that owns up to what I do wrong, or can rejoice when I do things correctly, or can work through problems and not have to think that, he always has it figured out. He can. My kids could say that they watch me figure it out as I go, and that's okay too, because
that's what we're all doing.
That's what we're all doing, right? I don't want to have a false pretense of mastery on something if I don't have that mastery on it.
Yeah, what a false image to your kids is if you pretended to have it all figured out, right? Like a cookie cutter, I came out of the mold this way kind of thing. Then they would expect themselves to live up to that same expectation of I should have it all figured out. But to see a parent kind of grow into something Christ-like for God's glory. That kind of sets them up for that same thing.
Right. I don't want them to hit their 20s and think, oh, well, they had it all figured out. Like, definitely didn't. Promise you that we didn't,
Well, and on that as well is, to let your kids see you fail.
Yeah.
Like, because if you try to act like you never failed, a lot of people try to rewrite history and, well, I never did this, or I don't want my kids to know I did this. Like, I mean, for me, the hard part for my kids was when I traveled with the strength team, I gave my testimony, every time we did an event. Yeah. And my kids were at most of my events, so they heard who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is then they also understand that if I stumble and if I fall and if I fail, which you're going to, it doesn't matter who you are, God will always take you back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you have to be willing to make the turn and come back.
Right.
Doesn't make it okay that you did it, and they understand that, but they also need to understand, like you were saying, be authentic. In other words, I'm not perfect.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and portray that I am. And I think that's the problem we have in our churches. A big problem we have in our churches is people try to portray the perfect Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is. But when they come to church, they put on this, perfect family facade, like nothing's ever wrong, nothing's going down. Like, we all know what it's like to get 3 kids ready in the morning to try to get them to church on time, and we know what that turns into.
Yeah.
But people try to walk into church like they're having no issues, and we do, and that's not being authentic.
Right.
We're gonna fail. It's gonna happen. Doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, well, I'm just not gonna worry about it because I did. But the authenticity part is to admit I failed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I look at it too, like people who live authentically, I'm more likely to go talk to about stuff.
Right.
Like if I'm like say with you two, right? Like in the relationship, and I'm very thankful for the relationship that we have amongst ourselves here at the church. Like I view you both as coworkers, boss, but also friends. Like I feel like I can come to talk to you guys. I would want this little cushion. I would want my kids to be able to see like, oh, this is going on. I can come talk to dad.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about blank, blank, blank. I don't have to worry about breaking this picture of perfection, or I have to blah, blah, blah. Like the fact that I live authentically, I want my kids to feel comfortable to talk to me about anything,
Yeah.
And from my personal experiences, I feel the most comfortable talking to people who do live like that.
Yeah. Well, you want your kids, when they get in trouble, to be able to call you,
right,
and know that there's going to be consequences
right.
to their actions, but you're also not going to condemn them for doing it.
Right, exactly.
If that makes sense. I would much rather if Logan or Kyler, went to a party, got stupid, and got drunk, I would rather them call me.
Right.
And I'll go pick them up.
Right.
And there's going to be consequences to those actions.
Absolutely.
But I would rather them call me and me come pick them up than them try to drive home because they're afraid of what I'm going to do when they get home.
Absolutely. And then hide it from you and everything else.
Absolutely.
Because, anyway. But, I think for me, if I was going to narrow it down to a one-word answer, for me, it would be I would want my kids to see, I would hope that my kids would see that I'm faithful.
Yeah.
Faithful to my wife. And that all goes with being devoted, being authentic. I think we all say the same,
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, it's just the faithfulness, because they also saw a stretch where I was hurt by the church. I was mad at God because things just weren't going the way I thought they should.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't. And now they see the faithfulness of, okay, that wasn't the way to handle that situation. This is how you should handle it. But just being faithful in everything, in my relationship with Christ, in my walk with Christ, in my relationship with Crystal, in my relationship with them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the key to I know somebody gave me that advice when we had kids, was just be consistent. Like, don't, if you're gonna, if this action causes this response or discipline, then this action causes that response every time.
Every time, yeah.
It's not, okay,
and not
well,
only
this time
for
I'll let
each
it
child,
go.
but from child to child,
Right,
right? Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that whole.
And Logan will swear to you that that Kyler was our favorite because he didn't get in as much trouble. And I'm like, well, Kyler learned a lesson you didn't learn, which was shut up. like Kyler will just stop talking
at an early age. He figured it out.
Would even try to help Logan in that area. He would look at Logan and go, "Just stop talking."
Stop talking.
But
wow.
But I tell them all the time, no, you're my favorite. They're 21 and 19 now. You're my favorite 21-year-old. You're my favorite 19-year-old. I don't have a favorite.
Yeah.
So, but just being faithful in all those things, but especially in my walk with Christ, is because if you're faithful in your walk with Christ, you're going to be faithful in your family. You're going to be faithful to your wife. You're going to be faithful in all. The Bible tells us, be faithful in the little things. So I think that's what I would hope that my children would say about me, was that I was faithful. I mean, and all those other things, but I don't know if that really completely covers that question all the way. I don't know what our wives said, but
I'll have to listen and find out.
Yeah, have to listen to the next one and find out.
Yeah. They're all the same.
Imagine. I was thinking about that, man. I was like, I wonder if they all said the same thing.
Yeah.
But we did. Yeah.
But especially for Karl, because he's got boys and girls.
Yeah.
So like the two boys, you want them to see what it means to be a godly husband,
right?
And you want Kentley to be able to see what she needs to look for in a godly husband,
right? Yeah, somebody sent me something. I think I said it on one of the podcasts. It was like a little snippet. I don't even know if it was a meme or whatever, but it said like, if you don't like who your daughter's dating, look at yourself in the mirror,
right?
Kind of thing. Yeah. So that was that was sent to me when she was like 2 years old. Yeah. So that kind of stuck.
And that's sometimes true, but Logan, it's funny because Kyler tended to date people that were more like Crystal. And Logan tends, for some reason, to date people that are more like me.
That's funny.
I mean, in a
personality-wise,
sure,
in a way,
sure.
I mean, Sylvia and I are more alike than Sylvia would like to admit, but
sure,
but because we're both hard-headed.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not hard-headed. We both like to persevere.
Yeah.
Yes. Perseverance is a strong character trait.
You have strong opinions.
Yeah.
No, I really do. I mean, I would hope my kids would. Yeah. Above anything else, my kids would say, I could see, because that's what we're supposed to be. I think I said it when we were all together. I would hope that my kids would say that they could see an earthly picture of who God is in me.
100%.
I mean, and that's what we're supposed to. That's what the Bible tells us to be. So,
one of the, and you kind of struck, jogged my memory there. One of the things I struggled with as a parent was discipline. Yeah. And it's like, sometimes discipline, involves a higher tone in your voice, a more sternness in your personality, almost as if you're being malicious. But as long as your intentions are correct, you're doing it in the right manner. But it was like love, grace, compassion. Like you hear all these things that Christ was, and it's like we're supposed to exemplify Him. Right. But like what I had to learn was like when God released when God releases wrath on people, whole peoples. I mean that is discipline in a loving way. Yeah.
Well, the Bible tells us that if we don't discipline our children, we don't love them.
Right. So it's finding that understanding of like, I'm growing with, my walk is growing with Christ, so I'm trying to be more like Him. But then I have these kids put into my life, and now I have to. It's almost like you're taking steps backwards because now discipline comes in, and then you're like, well, this isn't really like the person I've been trying to be this whole time, or the characteristics, And I hate like being quote unquote frustrated or disappointed or So it's kind of a weird. It's a weird journey and a weird chapter.
And when it gives you a good perspective with kids of how God feels with us.
Yeah.
Like, because we do the same thing.
The love of the frustration at the same time.
Yeah. And you have to, and it's a matter of the discipline has to equal and that's probably the hardest part for any parent is figuring that out. The discipline has to equal the action, right? So, the discipline has to equal the rebellion. Right, and I'll be honest. There was times where I went way overboard on something that I probably shouldn't have, But it's even harder. And Jordan and Carl's kind of figuring this out now. It's even harder when you're in ministry and you have kids because people expect your kids to be perfect. Yeah. Because you're the pastor, or you're the youth pastor, or you're the and it's like,
or when you're the children's ministry director and you're like in a whole group of children, and then you kind of come down on your own, and somebody might not know that's your child. Right. It's like we need to get shirts that say "That's my kid, that's my dad." So like when they witness this, they don't think that like Eden Baptist Church's children's ministry is like anger and like
sure. Like let's get a PK sticker.
How do I juggle this like correcting my own children versus like being in charge of the whole group kind of thing.
Well, it's so I had to do that with like, because I coached Logan, I coached Kyler in every sport they did.
Right.
So, like, the first day we had a parent meeting, I would go, okay, and I would make whichever one it was, stand up and go, he's mine.
Okay.
I will not treat your kid the way I treat my kid.
Yeah, that's probably something I should do.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
This
like,
one's mine.
This one's mine.
The first
So-
thing I do is introduce my kids to everybody I meet and say, this is this,
Yeah.
and then they'll get the idea.
Yeah, there's
Well,
the understanding there.
The worst part was for them because I was harder on my kids.
Sure.
And my kids got less when I coached because I didn't want anybody to think that I was favoring them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, I would literally have parents go, you need to put your son back in the game. And I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, well, he's better than my kid. Like,
Incredible.
And I'm like, that's not the point. The point is, so a lot of times I went further than I needed to, but I wanted to make sure.
On the other direction.
Right.
Of it, yeah.
But
Well, I think in Scripture, also not only the, the thing that they did that was wrong, but the repetitiveness of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, you lied, right? We'll handle that as a lie. But now, if it becomes, a everyday thing, and you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, there's another level, I think, of correctness. When it comes to, well, now it's habitual, right?
Yeah.
Now we need to kind of handle this in a different manner. Yeah. And I think God did that with people as well, like Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Like, how many times did he understand that he needed to stop what he was doing, plague after plague after plague, and then eventually he kind of just left that to his own.
yeah, left him to his own devices.
Yeah.
Or own vices. I don't know what the proper term is.
His own destiny. Or I don't know.
Left him to
I don't know.
his own
Devices.
choices.
Yeah, devise his own choices.
Is it devices or vices?
Devices.
Okay.
Vices is like, that's my vice, like
Yeah, no,
smoking or drinking.
that's what I
or
was
whatever,
thinking.
yeah.
Like, I'm
But then
gonna
it's-
use
They could be
my
both.
vice. I don't know what the proper terminology
I guess
is.
it could be both, yeah.
But then you think, on the flip side of the coin, look at the Israelites and how many times he gave them a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance and a fifth chance, and it's the grace part, right? So it's like, it's such a fine line to walk.
Yeah. Well, even like, not to immediately cut you off. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. So this is before we told like Joey and Nadia and everyone. I was thinking about it as we're walking away from FCA. It's not about like punishment or disciplinary or anything like that. It's more so just like how far do you push a kid, in terms of like leadership and things like that. Because I was thinking about like, man, like I'm a youth pastor, like say God still has me in this role in 15 years when my kid's in high school, like do I like focus on them because like I want them to be in leadership, or do I like push them to the wayside because I don't want people to think I'm just making my kid a leader, blah, 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 like all those questions were kind of going through my head. So having your kids in kids ministry, this has nothing to do with the conversation for this episode, but it was on the mind. I'm like, I want to ask, or like, so when you were the youth pastor and, like with your kids in youth group and stuff like that, like, how do you go about that?
Yeah, like for when I had Logan and Kyle both in the youth, the one thing I did was, now if it was something that parentally I needed to deal with, then I dealt with it. But other than that, I would ask our adult leaders, hey, look, I need y'all to deal with these two because they're mine, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm, Now, if it came to a point where
they listen better sometimes to other people.
Oh, they do.
They do.
Well, yeah. And what you'll both learn very soon is you'll tell them how to do something, and then like they'll completely think you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. And then, like 3 years down the road, they'll be like, "Hey, so and so said this. It makes a lot of sense." And I'm like, "Yeah, I told you that 5 years ago."
Sure.
Like, they would look at me like, I threw shot put and discus, and was gonna go to college for it. And I would tell Logan something, and he would look at me like I was stupid.
Yep.
And then when he got to college, his coach would tell him the same thing. He'd be like, "You know what Coach told me today?"
It's great advice.
And I'm like,
yeah.
Exactly. That's what I've been telling you for 4 years,
Yeah.
But that, that's just part of being a parent. But the biggest thing is, I just tried to, especially when it came to like in the youth group, I tried to treat my kids just like I did everybody else.
Yeah.
I didn't put any extra expectations on them.
Sure.
Than I did.
Your light, sorry. So is your light still on? But
yeah.
Okay, it's solid though.
Yeah.
Okay, because it looks like the button was sticking out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I just want to make sure it wasn't muted.
No, I'm definitely not muted. People are probably wishing I was.
So they hear me through this mic when it's off.
This is true.
I learned a long time ago how to use when you do 30 school assemblies in a day. You learn. In a week, 30 school assemblies in a day. That'd be a feat. Yeah. but in a week you learn how to talk from somewhere where it's not your throat. So
right.
Otherwise, you won't be able to talk. So let's jump on to this next question. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to answer your question.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
With the kids and all, not necessarily from a disciplinary side of things, but like who they end up being, like what do they. So I've just led by example, and I've just done my job, and I've done my part, and like I think the kids have just. They've seen it, they've absorbed it, and then they've kind of decided what they want to be and who they want to be.
Yeah.
It wasn't like what do I need to do or what do I not need to do in order to make this happen. God works on their hearts just like He does ours, and it's just one of those things.
And it's one of those you want to push your kids, and that's kind of how I looked at it. I wanted to push my kids just like I did everybody else. If I saw leadership skills in any teenager in the youth group, I would push them towards leadership. If I saw it in mine, I would do the same thing. But I'm not going to over push my kids just because they're my kids.
Yeah. I got you.
Or just pull back because they're my kids. And you'll see, and the kid. I mean, and you'll, especially in the youth, it's more prevalent in the youth when you have youth leaders, right? Instead of adult leaders, the youth leaders, the teenage leaders, they'll pick themselves.
Yeah.
Like you can watch,
they do.
Kids just start following this kid because
and they know some kids have strengths and advantages, and like they just all right, he's going to do it, and it's like they just kind of automatically pick that individual because they see that characteristic in them.
And that's kind of where my mind like rested on it, thinking about it, because like I've been doing youth ministry now for like almost 5 years. So, like, I've come to see, like, okay, you have leadership, you don't. You're good at this, you're not, blah, blah, blah. So, like, there's that natural
not everybody's built to be a leader.
Right. Like, you have your giftings. Let me help you, use what God has given you for His glory. And instead of, I think you'd be great here, and then just start pushing,
Yeah. I mean, and that's what we do that with the adults in the church, too, right? We look at somebody and we go, you know what, they'd be really good on the building and grounds team.
Right.
Hey, you ever thought about, and you kind of push them that way because they already are gifted in that area.
Sure. Right.
But I think a lot of times what we try to do, especially with our own kids, is push them into an area
that was we want for them. We want necessarily what God's gifted them.
Yeah. And I had to learn that. I mean, Logan was a lot like me. Logan played sports. He did, he did all that stuff. And, so, I mean, it was nice. But then Karl was not that kid. He loved track. I mean, he loved throwing shot put. He loved throwing discus. But he was not the sports kid. He was my, But I tell people all the time, I have the best of both worlds. If I want to watch football or baseball or basketball, I can sit down with Logan and we can watch football, baseball, basketball. We can talk about all the, the stats and the, all this stuff. But if I want to watch Marvel or DC, I got Kyler.
Yeah.
And I'll sit down and now he goes into some nerd stuff that I can't even.
Over your head.
I'm not that deep into it. Yeah. But it's nice because you have the best of both, and I raised them both exactly the same way. Right. I mean, that's the weird part. So
they just have their interests, they have their desires.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just that, just like you just treat. I guess the best piece of advice is for both of you guys, because I've had them both go all the way through, and is just treat them just like you would any other kid in the group.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I used to have to try to tell myself was when they walk in this church in the youth group, or they're not mine. They're just another teenager.
Yeah,
they're another teenager in the group. Now, I didn't know. I failed at that a lot, but I tried to do that. So, all right. So let's go to this next subject here. What is the most important aspect of marriage, or what would you say is the most important aspect of marriage?
Other than communication
and God. Obviously,
that's like the given. Right?
Everybody says, "What's your when people are getting married?"
Oh yeah,
Pastor, what's your one piece of advice that you'd give everybody for a successful marriage? Keep God in the middle of it. Yeah. Keep God first and put Him in the middle. Yeah. That's just it's kind of like, if you're at church and you're in Sunday school, Jesus giving the answer to any of it, probably going to be pretty close to the right answer for any questions.
Yeah.
So we took those two out so we couldn't cop out on that. So what would you say is the most important aspect of marriage minus communication, because that's probably the number one problem in marriage, and keeping God first? Go ahead.
We'll let Jordan go.
I love the split second of silence. I don't know. My
unfair advantage.
My instinct is like just quality time, just spending time with each other. I don't know if that's necessarily answering the question about aspect of marriage. Yeah. But that's what comes to mind. I mean, like me and Jen have been together longer without kids than we have been with kids. So we've spent a lot of time together, doing everything together.
Yep.
So that tends to be the main focus because we haven't had a kid to focus on, I guess. But one thing we always cherished, especially when we were first together, one thing that we noticed, I shouldn't say cherished because we still cherish it, we could just be in the car driving in silence and not worry about it. Like we're just enjoying each other's company.
Sure.
We could be at home, on our phones or watching TV or eating or whatever, and just the fact that we were together, we were happy, So I think the reason why I picked that after keeping God central and communication is because to me it reflects our relationship with God. I cherish the moments I have with God, whether it be in prayer, reading scripture, in church, Bible study, taking a walk outside, and just
being still
enjoying,
and knowing that He is God.
Right, just being still, right, all these different things. Like the quality time of being with God is so much more valuable than trying to do this, that, and the other thing, events, blah, 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 whatever. Like just enjoying the presence. So I think because of that, and that kind of even harbors back to the first question too of like what I want my kids to say about me being a husband, like just being able to be with my wife.
So being present.
Being present. Just being there, enjoying her, who she is.
Yeah.
Her, all the little things about her or whatever, like just enjoying it and just being there with her.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think mine would be the most important aspect would be grace. To have grace, to show grace. One of my favorite Bible verses, if not my favorite, is when they were accusing the adulterous woman, and Jesus said that without sin, cast the first stone, and they all put him down and dispersed, And then it goes on to say, he asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No, not one, sir," she said. And then he said, "Then neither do I condemn you." Jesus declared, "Go now and leave your life of sin." So it's like nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. We're not perfect. They're not perfect. To show grace as in don't hold yourself, to a higher standard. Don't hold somebody else to a higher standard. Like show grace to one another. Like if they mess up, they mess up. Show them grace. And I don't think how many marriages understand how impactful and how much benefit it is to a marriage to where when a spouse does mess up, and even if it's a big mess up, to show grace and to be like Christ and say, I see it, I forgive you for it, and then move forward, and just repent from those ways. I've heard of so many marriages splitting up for silly things, and I think to myself, like, where's the grace at? Like, for one, the person that's not showing the grace is not perfect. No one's perfect. If we could just understand that we're not perfect, don't expect your spouse to be perfect. Right. And even at different levels of right and wrong, sin is a sin in God's eyes. So in our eyes, it should be a sin, and that we can forgive it just like He forgave our sins. So mine is grace, definitely. Show grace.
Yeah, I think the one piece of advice that I always give any couple getting married, and that Crystal and I we've actually not all the time, obviously, but one of the things that we always have tried to do, and I think at this point, so Jordan said we've had each other longer than we've had kids.
Oh,
now,
wait till that
right?
tide changes.
But like for Crystal and I, we've been married longer than we were single.
Yeah.
Like we've been married for 26 years. We got married when we were 19.
Yep.
So we've been married. We've been together for 27 years. So we've been married longer than we were apart.
Yeah.
Like by 10 years now.
Isn't that crazy to think?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So but I think the one thing that we have always tried to continue to do that people forget about, even when they have kids, is you never stop dating your spouse.
Yeah.
Like and that kind of goes with both of those things you guys just said.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to show grace when you're spending quality time together, right? Because if you're not spending time together, even if it was so stupid as like when the boys were just old enough to be able to go, okay, we're gonna run to the store, y'all stay here. Like that was our date, the 5 minutes to the store real quick. I saw a thing the other day. It's like the 7 rule. It's like every 7 days go on a date. Every 7 weeks go for a weekend.
Gotcha.
And every 7 months go for a week.
Gotcha.
But that's not feasible for everybody,
Sure.
right? I mean, it could be. You could find creative ways to do it. We did when we were kind of trying to get ourselves back, get ourselves back in the where we got ourselves into some financial issues and stuff. But trying to get back, instead of those 7 days that we would spend together, instead of going, and staying in the hotel, we'd go camping.
Yeah.
Crystal hated camping, but it was a way to go on vacation. I mean,
so
there's
your time.
ways to do it. Or, hey, Mom, can you watch the kids for this weekend? We're just going to stay at the house, But I think that's the thing that a lot of couples mess up on, because, I wish I could remember how he said it. And I'll probably remember it when we're done filming this, or recording this. I'll probably remember exactly what I was trying to say. But I think so many people forget to date when they have kids because their focus,
Is on
if
raising
they're not
children.
careful, is the kids.
Yeah.
And then when the kids are gone, they look around at each other and go, who are you?
Yeah.
And what do we do now?
Yep.
And if
It's
you
not
don't
easy
take,
either.
no,
Because
it's not.
Kimberly and I went on a trip not long ago, and I had a hard time even enjoying the quiet and the peaceness because I'm so used to chaos and being anxious and counting 3 kids and then a wife and myself and knowing everybody's in place.
Right.
Like when that task or duty is no longer there, I was like, I didn't even know, I felt weird. I was like, I should be enjoying this, but I'm anxious because the kids aren't here, and my mind isn't pinpointed on 6 different things right now. It's
It's a weird break for me.
Yeah,
It is odd.
and
It is so odd.
I think
you don't
it's
expect
the never stop dating, and I guess the other one is understanding. And I think we said it when we were all together. Is understanding that men are not women and women are not men. Mm-hmm. Jordan said quality time. That's one of the 5 love languages. The funny thing is to ask Jen I want to see what Jen said and I would suggest if you're out there and you're married and you've never done it, get Dr. Gary Chapman's book and do the 5 love languages. Find out what your spouse's love language is, because while Jordan's may be quality time, Jen's may be acts of service or something else. Because if quality time is Jordan's and all he ever gives her is quality time, she's not feeling loved because that's not her love language.
Right.
And it goes against your nature to do that because to you, or
you don't get it, quote unquote.
right. Like my love language, Crystal's love language was I believe if I remember right, was acts of service, and mine was physical touch. Right. So if all I ever did was smack her on the rear end every time I saw her and never did anything for her, she would never feel loved because while that's my love language, that's not hers.
Sure.
Right.
And that's important to know what that is and to understand each other.
Yeah.
Because you're 2 different people coming together into one household.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Chapman actually made 5 love languages for kids.
Oh, wow.
So you can see what your kids' love languages are now too.
Snickers and Kit Kat.
Snickers.
I know that's for
That
a
would be
couple
gift.
Oh,
That would be
that's
gift.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's
So,
incredible.
Um,
Yeah, I guess the last thing I would say about this question, I mean, if no one else has anything else to add, when I was still at Lakes Church, which was the church me and Jen were at before we came here, the pastor there had set up something called, oh gosh, can't remember what it was called now. Not important. It was a little community thing for people that felt called to be in ministry. Mm-hmm. Whether he had one set up for the students, he had one set up for adults. And the thing that he started out with, because he started it right before COVID happened, so we literally had one meeting, and then that was it. Wow. Like literally right afterwards, it all
It went virtual quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for real. So anyway, the one thing that he says, and one thing that's stuck with me for so long, and it's something I tell our students now, it's stuff that I'll tell people if they ever ask about it. There's tiers in relationships, and I say this more so for I'm going to say after it. But, our number one relationship is God. Secondly, it's our wives or our husbands. Thirdly, is our children. And then fourthly, it's our career. Mm-hmm. And the reason why that was important then is because sometimes pastors and who knows, who's listening to the podcast, but sometimes pastors think that them being a pastor is equitable to their relationship with God.
Yeah.
And they put their job over their spouse, they put their job over their kids. And that's not true. That's not how it should be. It's still a job. It may be what we're called into doing.
Sure.
But it still comes after our family.
Occupation.
Right, it's occupation, right. Now, I say that because going back to what Zeb was saying about, dating your spouse, dating your wives, all those different things, is because when your kids grow up and they're out of the house, suddenly your perception of your wife is you're the mother of my kid, and it should be you're still my wife, right? There's a totally different perception there, which is why a lot of marriages tend to kind of break up a little bit after kids leave, right? So no, just to back up what you said, Zeb, is that 100% she's your wife.
Oh yeah.
Before anything, she's your wife, then she's the mother of your kids.
Right. Yeah, and that's and we all have the tendency to do that, right? We can, as men, we can get so focused that our priority becomes providing for the household, and our wife's priority, because it's just ingrained in us, whether people want to admit it or not, and people want to go against it or not, that's fine.
Right,
but it is thing. It's God. It's God ingrained in us. God wrote it on our heart that we're the providers. Our wives their priority can very quickly become to, while we're providing for the household, their priority can become maintaining the household. Right. But when our priorities should be God, then each other, then our kids, then all the other stuff.
Right. That's a good way of putting it too. Just everything else is after.
Right.
Yeah.
And they are your kids, and there's going to be times where they do take priority. When like I'm telling y'all right now, just start saving up for their senior year of high school now, because you're going to need it. Because their senior year of high school, there's every other week there's something else.
Oh yeah.
But they become the priority. Yeah. Start giving
plasma
cards.
Don't tell me that, Zeb.
But yeah, I think that's the
holographic Charizard.
Spirit of the heart.
So, all right. So let's tackle this last subject here.
I just wanted to note real quick on the kind of like who we see our wives as, and that's a whole another balancing act, is because when you first get married, she's now your wife, but then when they become a mother, the mother to your children, they bear child and they give birth. Like, I don't know if you guys, Jordan hasn't gone through this yet, but with you, Zeb, like, there's an attractiveness to that as a man,
sure.
And not to overlook that, right? So like to embrace that and to accept that, but also don't to hold that as in like this is who she is now. She's all those things, but like I said, like that's something that could go to the wrong side, if you will, like if you just focus too much on it. But don't I wouldn't say underestimate, but like don't
undervalue
look at undervalue or overlook that as a
Well, and it's as far as making your wife a priority. There, I think every guy I've ever talked to, and Karl will get there. Jordan, depending on what his baby is, will get there. Like there was a point with both of mine that I had to look at them and no longer say you're not going to talk to your mom like that. I had to look at them and go, you're not going to talk to my wife that way.
Right.
Like I wouldn't let anybody else do it. I'm certainly not going to let you do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I I've had those conversations. I had those conversations and looked at them, and if anybody else ever talked to my wife that way, I'd have knocked them on the floor.
Yeah.
So and that's the thing, and it's just it's part of it. Your kids are obviously important. Nobody is denying that. You don't dismiss your kids in lieu of your spouse. But the biggest thing we have to remember is you can't dismiss your spouse in lieu of your kids.
Yeah.
Because when the kids are gone, it's just you two.
It is your spouse again.
Yeah. Right. So
definitely.
All right. So let's tackle this last one here.
Last one.
One piece of advice you would give your younger self about marriage. What's the piece of advice that we'll make Jordan start again because he's the one that's been married the least amount of time. Because I've got a lot of advice after 26 years.
Yeah. So Jen and I have been married for going on 6, and we've been together for going on 8. What advice would I give my younger self?
You want me to start so you got time to?
Yeah.
Well, here's a simple piece of advice. Understand that you're gonna have struggles. Because when you first, I don't know about you guys, when you first go into marriage, you're like, this is going to be great. It's going to be this and that. And, and and then when all of a sudden that first, whether it be a financial struggle or a family struggle or a personality struggle,
disagreement,
because sometimes, you get married and you don't have these things. And if you do it right, put it that way, because you've never lived together. Right. And you get married and you look around and you go, who is this person that I married? Like, I didn't know they did this. You know what I mean? Like what? So there's gonna be struggles, and if you know that ahead of time that it's not going to be easy, but you have to continually work. And I think that causes a lot of issues in a lot of marriages. If somebody just goes, well, I'm putting in all the effort and they're not doing anything. Well, they probably are. It's just not the way you think they should be. But I think the biggest piece of advice is that I would give my younger self is to understand that there's going to be struggles. Life's not going to be sunshine and roses just because you got married. It's not like it is on TV. And that because that's the picture we get, right? TV and movies. That's the picture we get of marriage. So there's going to be issues and there's going to be problems. And I don't know about you guys, but Crystal and I made a rule. I know Jordan hasn't yet, but I don't know. But Crystal and I made a rule that we would in the very beginning that we were not going to have an argument in front of our kids. So like our kids, if you ask them this day, they'll look at you and go, my mom and dad don't ever argue. Like we do. We never, I could probably count on one hand how many times we've really had a full blown, argument, but probably less than one hand. But we're not gonna disagree and argue in front of them because that doesn't help anything. Doesn't mean that we didn't, but that's probably the one thing I would tell myself is just understand you're gonna struggle.
Yeah,
no,
you're gonna. It's gonna happen. And the good news is that it gets easier as you stay in it longer because you start to figure each other out.
Right, and what didn't work last time versus what would have worked, and then it's that whole after something happens, you're like, why didn't I do this, or why didn't I do that, or why didn't I say this, or why did I say that? And then the more times that happens, the more it kind of gets the kind of like the horse gets back in front of the carriage, right? So like you're like, oh yeah, that's and then you can kind of curb that whatever it was last time that didn't that wasn't very beneficial.
Yeah, and be willing to understand your part in the struggle.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of times we want to put, and in our society today, that's the way it goes. It's always somebody else's fault.
Sure.
Well, if you hadn't have done this, I wouldn't have done this. Well, I shouldn't have done this, even though you did that. Is the truth of the matter.
That's that grace part.
Yeah, that's that grace part, and that's that authentic part. Is understanding. Okay, this was my part in that, and I have to apologize for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, because looking back at my life, not to get into testimony stuff, but when I was really young, when I was little, I always had really good faith. Anything could happen, I say, God got it. There's a period of my life where I ran away for a while, and my faith went down the tube, as it were. I just struggled a lot with it, a lot of questions, a lot of things like that. When me and Jen got married, I was coming back still to the fullness of my faith. And the reason why I say that is because, you going first definitely helped a lot. Looking at all the financial struggles that we've had, looking at health struggles that we've had, looking at, name it, it's probably happened type of a struggle. And the advice I would give myself then is the advice I'd still give myself now. And it's just trust God.
God's got this.
Just God's got it. Because I look back and
He just gave the Sunday school answer.
I did. I really did. And
That's
you know what?
Right.
It's a Sunday school answer for a reason.
We all know that.
Why are you devaluing it? What's going on?
But I look back and every single time we've ever had an issue with it, take finances, for instance. Every time we've been struggling financially, we look back, and God has always done something where we make exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about like not too long ago, or both of you said it not too long ago, of like, I don't know how we did that financially. You know, like it just doesn't make sense how it happened like that, you know? Yeah. But
make it happen.
Right. Like Jen just got her, she just went back to teaching. And I'm still finishing up my my master's. And at the time that she started working was the time that we found out that I couldn't get okayed for a student loan anymore because of how many student loans we have. So I had to pay for school outright. Before she got the job, could not do it.
Yeah.
Which means that we had to start paying for stuff right away. Had no money.
Yeah.
The fact that she started working allowed us to pay for school outright. So I have no loan out right now. Yeah. We're just paying for it out of pocket. Only able to do that because God blessed us with a job for her. You know, so like looking back, I'm like, I remember this was, golly, it's November now. Like this was 3-4 months ago. I remember sitting down like, I don't even understand how this is going to work. Like I'm going through the worst options possible. And God always comes through. Always comes through. And like it's funny because it is the Sunday school answer, but it doesn't change it from being just so true.
Oh yeah.
And like I look at myself, I'm like, yeah, just trust.
You got to give it to God.
You just got to give it to God.
Well, and even in the and I think it all kind of goes together. I don't know where Karl's going to go, but it'll probably all go together with
left field.
Karl's going to be like, buy a bass boat. Something crazy.
That one that
start collecting cards earlier.
Definitely should have done that.
But no, I mean, I think that goes with understand that there's going to be struggles. Understand how to deal with those struggles, because without God, there's no way we made it through those struggles.
100%.
Like, and that it all kind of falls in line. If you trust God, you know that you're going to struggle. I mean, you read through the Bible. Every person and every quote unquote hero of the faith, they all struggled.
Yeah.
But their faith in God got them through the struggle. So if Jesus told us that in this life we would have problems and we would have struggles and trials. Yeah. And, so why, if he said that, then why do, and I ask myself this question, if he says that, then why do we think we're not going to have any?
Right.
Yeah.
But if we rely on God, he'll take care of those struggles. You're still going to struggle, but you can come out on the other side.
Yeah.
So mine would be the piece of advice I'd give my younger self is that it's not all about you.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure somehow we can connect the dots with all the other answers that have been given, but
how many struggles does that cause when you think it's all about you?
Sure, yeah. And it's, I think from a growing up kind of thing, you come from being young and figuring out who you want to be and what you're going to be, and then you start pursuing that. So like you have dreams, goals, ambitions, all these things. In your teens, late teens, you just got out of high school, you start a career, and not long after that is usually where marriage comes in for most. But
right.
It's very easy to have your blinders on and stay quote unquote devoted to yourself when you're trying to start a family and trying to start a marriage and things of that nature. To where it's like, I'm going to keep going down my sidewalk, you keep going down your sidewalk, but we'll just kind of go down the same road together, kind of thing. But you need to be like walking on the same sidewalk with each other. So it's just, like I said, it's just one of them juggles to where it's like you do have, you commit to yourself and what you need to be in order to provide now for your family. So you're kind of like on that same, understanding of like, I got to get myself figured out and I've got to devote to myself, but understanding that it's not all about you. Right. As in, caring for your spouse and providing for your spouse and being there for your spouse and So
yeah, and it's the I had to have a conversation with a couple one time because they were causing themselves struggle because they weren't trusting in God, and what was happening was they made really good money, and one of them would buy this and spend this much money, and the other would go, well, if you spend that much money, I'm going to spend this much money. And it's like, no. And they got themselves into a lot of trouble.
Next thing you know, they're broke.
It's okay, well, you're going to get that. Okay, great. I'll wait till we get paid, and I'll get this. Yep. But they weren't doing that. They were doing all about them, like you were saying. It's about me.
A competition
if
kind of
you
thing.
Get to spend $1,000, I get to spend $1,000. Well, guess what? You only got $1,900 in your account.
Yep, and y'all just spent $2,000.
So,
yeah,
and those are the problems because it's about them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not about
And it just kind of like goes into sacrifice, right?
Right.
It's a lot of sacrificing for your partner.
Yeah, and you'll
your
find out
spouse.
real quick. I mean, Karl knows. I certainly know. When you have kids, oof, they cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like I think I saw a thing the other day, and Jordan
what
could
it takes to
probably
raise a kid to
fact check
18?
me. Like what it costs to raise a kid to 18. I think
Yeah.
it's like $1 million.
Sure.
Like if you add all the food and the
Oh yeah.
like
yeah.
everything in.
Sporting events.
And let me tell you
name
something.
it.
When you got
Night
two
out.
when you got two boys that are 6'4", 6'5", 250 or 60 pounds,
that's a
and you got
big-
me in the house,
That's a big plate of
that's
food.
a lot of food, bro.
$375,000.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
what it
that's
is?
a low. I'm just letting you know.
When was that tally?
I've
Up?
spent-
1980.
Yeah, I've spent that,
1980 is crazy.
I've spent that much
2025.
money, and I
Really?
spent that much money just in car insurance in the last 4 years. So, I mean,
That's a whole
you know,
other story.
I was saying that's a
Ooh.
different topic. I think we need to talk about.
but
One car each year.
not even that, just the insurance in general. I mean, like
Yeah.
it quadrupled when they both started from when just Crystal and I were driving to when the two of them started driving. But
It
but
does
yeah.
exclude college.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's all.
That's how you get to $1 million. Is when you.
Oh yeah, easily.
I'm banking on the boys to go to trade school.
yeah.
Hey, this world needs electricians and plumbers.
Absolutely.
Yes, it does.
I told both of my boys, I said, here's the deal. When you graduate high school, you can live here in this house. Like, I said, but here's your options. You either go in the military, you go to trade school and become a trade. I'm not telling you to go to college. I'm telling you to go somewhere, learn how to weld, learn how to be an electrician, whatever.
HVAC, you name it.
Or you go to college full time. Like, that's how you stay in the house. If you're
Preferred.
not doing those, no. If you're not doing those three, if you're going to go get a full-time job and not go to school, you get your own house. You're going to be a big boy, go do big boy
Oh, not
things.
even the option to pay rent.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, okay.
So that was if you're
like
gonna
that.
if you're gonna just go get a full-time job, and you're not gonna live in my house, and I'm gonna buy your food,
Making more than you,
and you're
living in
making
your
more money
house.
than me. No, no. You're gonna help you. And but no, I mean, and that's and that's the thing of it is just understanding that I don't care how old you are when you get married, because a lot of people think, well, if I wait till I'm in my 30s, we won't. Let me explain something to you. If you wait till you're in your 30s, you're still going to have financial struggles because you're two completely different people coming from two completely different places into one house.
Yeah.
Unless you're a billionaire,
right.
you're going to struggle financially.
It's like having financial struggles is just part of the process at this point for most everybody. So I mean, like, if you're waiting to be set for everything, then you're gonna be waiting a long time.
Yeah, and I don't mean necessarily that you're gonna you're on the verge of bankruptcy, financial struggles, but you're gonna.
Well, you watch your
You're gonna struggle.
what do they say?
Yeah.
You watch your nickels and dimes.
Watch
or-
your watch your wallet is what you do. But but it's just you're gonna have struggles because you're two different people. But if you trust God and you're willing to be, and I tell I've said you are going to have to. There are going to be times where you are literally going to have to fight for your marriage, both of you, because you're gonna have times where you're just like, what in the world is wrong with this person? Now, 90% of the time, it's usually you, but I mean,
Well, you got to remember what God brought together. Satan's going to want to break up.
right? Absolutely.
So I mean,
Yeah.
Don't be caught blindsided.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. In the garden, Satan went to Eve first. Satan knows if he can destroy the family, he can destroy the church.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he's done. So, I mean, you look at every society. Satan. What was the first thing Satan attacked in every society? Was the biblical definition of marriage. That was the first thing he attacked. Yeah. And then, if that didn't work, he started attacking babies.
I'll say that's good, yeah.
And that's what we've done, in the U.S. for the last, 50 years we've just killed babies.
The hot topic, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's I think that's probably the hot topic of the day, other than healthcare, but which is what it is. That's a whole other situation, but.
Yeah.
But but that's Satan's job. That's what Satan knows if he can destroy the family unit,
Division.
which he's done well in the United States with for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well that's our our take on all the subjects.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're probably completely counterintuitive to what our wives said, but that's
I don't
okay.
know. I feel like they're.
That's well, I mean, but that's the thing. That's what makes it work,
Yeah.
right? Because while Jordan's focused on quality time, Jen's focused on acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm focused on physical touch, Crystal's focused on, hers is acts of service. Whatever it might be. I'm good at this, but I'm not good at this part.
Right.
We are. That's why God said in Genesis, it's not good for man to be alone. Why? Because we can't do everything. We're not built that way. So, it's
just like you said, being together, just community, being next to somebody and having somebody, and
right.
It's huge.
Yeah. It's the chords, right? When you put three chords together.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And the three chords is you, your spouse, and God.
Mm-hmm.
You wind those three chords together, nothing's going to break that.
Where my mind went was a guitar.
The guitar.
Like a one string guitar don't sound nowhere as good as a 6 string, and a 12 string sounds even better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
trying to play a guitar with one string is not
going to work. You need a couple strings on that thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it would just be, I don't know, not good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and I'll pray us out, and we'll catch you guys on the next go round. Hey, what will help us though? Actually, not necessarily us, but if you're listening on YouTube, if you'll hit like on it, if you'll just like that'll actually, I kind of learned a little bit about how algorithms work.
Mm-hmm.
But the more people that like the episode, the more it'll pop up in people's suggested list.
Yes. Push it out, yeah.
So if you'll like it, if you have 5 separate YouTube accounts, subscribe on all 5 accounts and then like it on all 5 accounts.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll actually help it go to other people's suggested videos.
Yep.
So help us out on that. But with all that said, we'll catch you guys on the next go round. So let me go ahead and I'll pray us out. Lord God, thank you for today. Thank you for who you are and what you do. God, I pray that each of our marriages would flourish, and we would always look to you first and make you the first priority in everything that we do. God, I thank you for our spouses and what they mean to us. And God, I pray that we would be the men of God that you have called us to be. So God, I thank you for the things that you've done that we don't even see. And God, help us to remember who you are. So God, we love you, we thank you, and we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.